Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the report from Michael Phillips that Phidarian Mathis is turning heads in off-season workouts. We'll talk about that and much more. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. It takes 3 seconds, it really helps out the channel a ton. And check out Mathis Sleep, link in the description, use code HTTC for 10% off. So Michael Phillips had a story here yesterday. And I just, talking about how Phidarian Mathis has been turning heads in workouts. And I just want to talk about that, go over the story a little bit. And then also kind of talk about expectations for Phidarian Mathis, for his second season, which is really his rookie year. And, I'll show you guys some workout clips as well. So shout out Michael Phillips from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to check out the story. He basically talks about the recovery for Phidarian Mathis and how he was really frustrated early on, and how Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen have helped him out a ton, and watching them have a dominant season helped him out too as well. And then at the draft party, Allen talked about he had a similar story in his rookie year, and says he's encouraged by what he's seeing on the practice field from Phidarian Mathis, which is good. And he said, he's back. Allen said last week at the team's draft party, he's out there with us every single day. He's ready to work. I was telling him how I broke my foot my rookie year, so I understand where he's at mentally, and that's a dangerous spot for a lot of guys. When you come back after your first year of being hurt, you're hungry and ready to work, just like you're a rookie. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play this year. So that was great to see right there. We'll skip this right here. And yeah, basically this story is going through, Phidarian Mathis's, his recovery period in process, which, was really tough for him the first, couple weeks. But he said, he really, got to see how to carry himself, he said, and he got to witness a great campaign, Pro Bowl campaign by Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. So sometimes it's, good to just sit back and watch and see what they're doing. And now he's going to have to implement that, and we'll see how he does. He said it was awesome to witness it. That motivates me to be just like those guys, to work hard like those guys, and I'm glad he got to witness it first time. So that's what Michael Phillips said, and I'm sure he has other sources that are telling him that Phidarian Mathis has been looking good in off-season workouts. I saw some of the clips. He looked good. I'll show you guys in a second. But the Commanders, they have a very good defensive line. We know that, but let's go to the Commanders depth chart just to see how good it really is, and really just to give you guys a visual, because I'm going to be talking about it anyways. But they have a really solid group. Obviously, they have the first 4 guys are really solid. We hope Chase Young is this year, but you got Chase Young and then Montez Sweat on the edge. I think Montez, we know what he is at this point. At the very minimum, he's a guy that's going to get you 8-9 sacks. Maybe not 10-11 sacks. He hasn't done that so far, but he's been very solid. And then you got someone in Chase Young who's, we don't know yet. His first year was really good, especially the second half. The second year was bad, and then he's been out ever since, so we don't really know. And, the interior, you got Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, I believe the best defensive tackle duo in all of football. Jonathan Allen gets sacks, also good in the run game, a lot of pressures. I think he's the best player on this defense. You can throw Daron Payne in there as well, but the last 2-3 years, Jonathan Allen has been that guy. Cam Crow might be the most important guy, though, because of how we've played without him, but Jonathan Allen has been a beast. And you look behind them, John Ridgeway was a find and a steal, where, the Cowboys drafted him in the 5th round. They released him, they put him on the practice squad, and the Commanders, swiped him off the practice squad. He had a couple bad plays. He had a couple stupid plays for sure. The Vikings won, and then the Texans won, where he did the suplex on the guy. Can't remember who it was. It was cool. It was cool, but he can't do that. But still, John Ridgeway, really solid against the run. I thought he did a really good job. Unfortunate that he tore his pec at the end of the year, so he might, I don't know at this point if he's ready, because January to February, February to March, March to April, April to May. So it's been 4 months, so he's close. He's close to coming back. I don't know. He might be back already, or it might be another 2 to 3 to 4 weeks for him to get back. But I really like what he can do. I'm talking about Phidarian Mathis in a second, but you drafted him in the 2nd round. Still disagree with that pick. Think you could have gone other ways and maybe brought back Tim Settle and drafted maybe Phidarian Mathis later if he was going to be there, or draft someone like John Ridgeway. But either way, they did it. We can't go back on that. But we'll talk about him in a second. And then you got James Smith-Williams, who at this point we know what he is, a solid rotational edge rusher. Like he can play on the inside as well. But he is a solid guy. Gets you a couple sacks this season. Is a great leader, and I don't know about leader. I don't know how much he's like an actual vocal leader, but he's a very good guy off the field. A lot of community service and work with the community. So really glad to have him on the roster. He's a free agent though, but still, he's solid. And same thing with Efe Obada. I think he got lucky with a couple sacks last year, but he was there and he got like 5 or 6 total sacks. So he can get James Smith-Williams might get a little bit more pressure, but Efe Obada overall gets a lot of sacks. And then after that, we'll see. And Casey Toole is just a really solid player. Doesn't get a ton of sacks, but usually at the right place at the right, is always making the right play and isn't going to do anything special, but is just a solid, guy to have on the roster. And you got KJ Henry and Andre Jones. We'll see what they do. And then the other 4, David Abada, Penning Patoa. I know who he is. I just never can pronounce his name. And then Abdul Anderson, who they signed. And then William Bradley King, who they drafted a couple years ago in the same draft as Shaka Toney. So those guys, who knows? I don't really care in terms of who makes the roster with, between those last 4 or 5 guys. But KJ Henry, I'm excited to see what he can do on the edge for the Commanders. And then now let's talk about Phidarian Mathis. Expectations for him in his second year. I don't have very, very high expectations. And huge shout out to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. They make the best sleep masks in the world. They have a bunch of different types. Some that, can change temperature to make it colder or warmer for you when you go to sleep. Some that, have speakers in them so you can, listen to something calming before you go to bed and choose what wakes you up. And yeah, I have one right here. I've been using it the last few weeks and it's really helped me out a ton. You just put it on and go to sleep. Okay, so back to the video, talking about expectations for Phidarian Mathis. Like I said, don't have high expectations in terms of, let's get him, I want him to have 6-7 sacks. Well, he's not going to be a starter unless Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen get hurt. Knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But, he'll be a rotational guy. It'll allow Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen to play fewer snaps, but play higher quality snaps, even though they played very high quality snaps last year. But in terms of how rested they are, it's going to help them out a ton. And you can see some of the stats from Phidarian Mathis. This is last year, but coming into the league. This is from Nathan Coleman, so these are his stats. He said highest pressure rate in the class, plug-and-play starter. Well, he's not going to be a starter for us anymore. Lengthy, bull rusher, high motor plus hand technique, 3rd in sacks per game in the interior defensive line, and led class in drawing holds, which you love to see. Like, I think that is an underrated stat. However you want to call it. Most holding calls drawn. Like, Jonathan Allen gets so many of those, and it doesn't really show up in the stat sheet. And I think it should be a more well-known or more looked at stat by everyone, but that's just besides the point. But for him, expectations are to, he's not going to play a ton of snaps. He's still going to play, a decent amount, but he's not going to be playing starter level snaps. But if they ever have, 3 interior defensive linemen on the field, which isn't going to happen much, but sometimes it will, he'll be on there. And then, of course, if Allen or Payne need a little bit of a breather, they'll put him in. He's very solid against the run, good at taking on double teams, and his block shedding ability is very good. He does his sack production the last year was solid, but like that's not what he's probably going to be at the next level. He'll get you a few sacks. That's probably going to happen, but he's better in the run game, similar to what John Ridgeway is. So expectations for him: give me a couple sacks and very good play in the run game. That's what I want. It doesn't have to be amazing. You would like more for a 2nd round pick. Well, the thing is, he's not going to be starting. So, it's just he's not going to get a ton of snaps. And real quick, just the quality from the video wasn't great, but we'll go ahead and play it right here. You can see Phidarian Mathis here, and then Daron Payne is back there as well. And this is a Patriots player, but you can see he still has a knee brace on. But this was like at least, this is 2 months ago. So it's been a while since this happened, but he probably doesn't have that knee brace anymore, or if he does, he's probably very close to having it on, because it's a meniscus. Like, I know meniscus is a serious injury, but it's not like ACL where it's 6 months, and it's been 6 months since it happened. It happened in September. So he should be good by now, and if he is, I'm excited to see what he can do this year for the Commanders, and I think it'll be a huge help to the Commanders D-line, and it'll allow Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen to, get a few more snaps off, and that's actually it is very huge for them, so they're, more rested, and those snaps that they do play are a little bit higher quality than they were last year, even though those snaps were very high quality. But you could tell sometimes that Payne and Allen were gassed, and they're going to have a guy in Phidarian Mathis and John Ridgeway too that can come in there and play well enough that they don't need to worry about, putting Allen and Payne in there all the snaps. And yep, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and check out Mathis Sleep, link in the description. Peace.